Hello, ladies, and welcome to Women podcast. I'm your host, Denise Hinkson Lawrence, and I'm excited that you have decided to take this journey with me towards wellness. Today, we'll be talking with my friend, my sister here. Her name is Suzette, and Suzette and I have been friends for about 24 or so years.
24.
24 years, and we're just going to have a conversation between us on the topic of fibroid. And
Yes.
the reason why I invited Susan to this space is because um, Susan and I share a similar story. However, hers is very unique, and I'll introduce her and we'll just begin.
Hello.
So Susan has joined me today. I invited her to this space because we wanted to talk about just women and taking care of our health, and our physical body, and what it's like in terms of certain things in terms of nutrition, skincare, exercise, but more importantly, one particular topic, Suzette, which I shared with you, which I wanted to invite you to the space to talk about,
Mhm.
is how do we deal with fibroid, right? And
Yes.
you have a unique story that I
I
know
do.
for a fact, and I just wanted you to come along and share that with our audience. But we're not going to go jump right into it.
Yeah.
Um, but in addition to that, you also have some products that you offer from a company that you're a consultant for as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But what has it been like in terms of your health, Suzette? Because looking at you, and her name is Suzette Phinn. Suzette is also a podcaster. Okay, she has a podcast that is called "Small as a Penny." Correct, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Small as a penny. It's
and that's
famous
part of
words.
her story. Exactly. So,
Famous
Suzette,
words.
what's it been like for you, your health journey? Because you look good. You
Thank
look
you.
good. You're
I
welcome.
I get that a lot. And I say, I'm a grandma. And they're like, what? Like, yeah. So it's really been a tough journey. It's more like trying to unlearn and learn new things as far as my health, and just to be aware that whatever you put in your body or on your body is very important. Our body is, because health is the best, is health is wealth.
It is. It
How
is.
do we it affects everything else in our lives, so it's important to practice good health.
But you didn't really raise on that all along. This is something that, like, I know, coming from the Caribbean, right? Coming from the islands, from Jamaica in particular.
Yes.
I know growing up, God rest her soul, my grandmother, I love her dearly, but if you didn't eat that food, you're gonna get a beating, right? So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because you're wasting my food, you're wasting my money that I
Mhm.
had to work this hard to get this, to provide this for you, and you don't eat it, then you get a beating. So you get into this, you're raised in a certain way. Not everyone. I'm just saying, like, from a personal
Mhm.
perspective, and with a family history of different illnesses and whatever, you do become aware of something, right? We become informed,
Yeah.
and people say knowledge is power, but it becomes power when you put action to it. Because I can
Yes.
tell you,
Yes.
I know what to do and I know what not to do, but am I
Exactly.
putting action to it? So
Uh-huh.
what was it like for you when you became aware and conscious of your health and say, okay, this needs attention? What brought you to that place?
Well, to begin with, I my cycle actually started getting worse. I normally never have pain with my cycle, and it was going longer. And I was like, okay, you ignore those things, because of course that's what we do.
Yeah.
And then I came to a certain point where it's like my skin was breaking out. It was itching. I couldn't stand in the sun, and my skin would burn. And I'm like, what's going on? So I went to the doctor. Thanks to Obamacare, it came out at that time,
Let's
and
be real, right?
yeah, it was life saving. I'm telling you. So because I didn't have insurance before, so I never went to the doctor for 11 years. And when
Wow.
you hear people say these things, that it really happens. If you don't have insurance, you're not going to go to the doctor unless you're like really sick and you have to go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
So I never went for any kind of checkup at all for that long period. So once I went, I told the lady about my symptoms and everything. She's a regular doctor down there. but she gave me some steroid cream. I
Mm.
was like, some steroid cream. She didn't even that was it. She just, I'm gonna just write you a prescription for some steroid cream, and I was like, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started doing some research and watching all these different programs, especially on PBS.
Okay.
One special person, what's his name? Dr. Furman. He always have these things on PBS where he talks about just eating vegetables and fruits.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd listen to watch it over and over again, and that's just start learning these things and exactly just what food does for your body.
I've
And
watched you over the years where I used to like, oh my goodness, here she go again to Whole Foods. Here she go again,
yeah,
little basket, and you just get your fruits and your vegetables and you read the little ingredients. And I'm like, can we just like pick up everything?
yeah,
Because you were more conscious of strategic and intentional about what you
mhm,
were purchasing in comparison to my cart. It would just be filled with all kinds of
yeah,
stuff. But what, even with that though, you said something. Let me just go back to what you said earlier about the health insurance, because that's a key thing,
yes,
especially in the minority communities, um,
exactly,
where there's no insurance, so you don't go to the doctor because like,
exactly, yeah,
I'm fine. I'm walking around, I'm fine. And you don't have the
hmm,
insurance, you can't afford it. And
yeah,
because of that, those years, whatever then happened was already developing, but
exactly,
you
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know.
It was already developing, yeah. So
Wow.
I was, once I got the insurance, I was able to go to the doctor, and that's when I found out I have fibroids. And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's small as a penny.
So don't even worry about it, right? It's just a little tiny thing. No big
It's
deal.
small as a penny, women with darker skin normally get it." And I'm like, okay.
Hmm.
So because of my skin is dark, I'm supposed to get it because that's what I was thinking. But
Right.
I've heard about fibroids from you before, but
Yes.
it didn't really register
Hmm.
because I've heard about it before, but it's just something that I don't know. You know, it just didn't register with me
And even at the
until
time when I shared it with you, I myself didn't know about it. I just
yeah,
knew that, this was a problem and okay, how I was told by a doctor is like, oh, but you'll be fine because, you're getting up there in age and,
yeah,
you're not
yeah,
planning to have any kids. Did you ask me
um,
if I wanted to have kids? Like, how you know what I want to do, right?
mm,
So I didn't know anything much about it, but from the little that I did know from my visit,
mhm,
I shared it with you, but then we just took it like, okay, all right, I
yeah,
guess it's something that we're supposed to have. We're
yeah,
supposed to keep it because we didn't have anyone who had it that was able to say, open and come forward and share their story and say,
yes,
hey, I've been, that's something that a lot of women, I realize, they keep to themselves. And, unless we
yes,
go and educate ourselves and do research and stuff like
mhm,
that, and you go to the doctor, like you said, when you went and she just gave you that steroid, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, that was
yeah,
you taking power in your hand. Because I remember
exactly,
the time I went to the doctor and he didn't even, I just went in and he said, oh, you have high blood pressure. I said, excuse me? I have what? You didn't even touch me. I'm not even sitting on that little table
yeah,
or desk or whatever it is. You're just standing by your doorway and just ready to write me a script for high
telling you,
blood pressure.
yes,
I
yeah,
don't have high blood pressure, buddy. Let's
exactly,
do this test. So it's like you taking power in your hand right there when you said, wait a minute, did you say steroid cream? Nah, not so. And you
yeah.
walk, what did you do then? Did you find alternative medicine? What did you
Yes, I went out and I've heard about the UV clinics for years and years and years. I
and
just
connect?
never went.
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, I'm going there. And I'm telling you, the appointment was like an hour and a half.
Hmm.
They asked me all the questions you could imagine. And man, it was awesome. And they actually, gave me information how to get rid of it. And it wasn't actually until I hit rock bottom that I actually went there. Um, I think it was after I ended up in the emergency room.
Yeah,
because
but before you go to the emergency room, I know that what you and I used to do were some bad habits. We practiced some bad habits.
yeah,
So when
very
the
bad.
pain came, when our cycle came on, we were almost in sync, really, right? And we
Mhm.
would like want to go watch a movie, but not because we wanted to watch a movie. But truth be told, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say it. Why don't you say it? What did we go to the movie theater to do?
so drink Pepsi.
Yep. That was the only thing that was kind of like numb the pain a little bit. I
Yeah.
can't explain it to any. I've told people this story and they look at me like I'm crazy. And I said, I
Mhm.
don't know how to explain it
Yeah,
medically or even intellectually. All I know, we were in sync. And whenever that thing happened, like, you want to go to the
I think
movie?
it was also chocolate for you.
Yes.
Yeah,
And we would be in the movie, not watching a movie sometime, just out there up
I know.
because there was something different about that Pepsi than buying the Pepsi in the store. I don't know what it
Exactly.
is.
It's fresh out of the can, I guess.
But
It
then
was
when you
good.
started taking serious note to this and you started going to UB, and then now you find
Mhm.
yourself now in a situation where, yeah, you end up in the
I had
emergency.
to make changes. Yeah.
Explain to us what was that like being in the emergency? What brought you there? And
Oh
what
Lord.
changes you made after?
So it was a June that it happened. That my cycle, and it was heavy, and then I started getting these clots. Is that what they call them? And then the cycle would end like 5 days. It was heavy, and then it started again. I was like, oh,
Mm,
just getting heavy and heavy. And then the next month, the same thing happened, and it keep happening that for like 6 months. And then I ended up in the emergency room. I think it was the end of February, January,
yeah. Hmm.
because I was losing so much blood.
Hmm.
So it was horrible, and I had to wear those big, thick pads
Hmm.
that it was horrible.
Not attractive. Yeah, let's just say that.
Totally, totally not attractive. I remember when I went to UB and I went to do the blood work. The Quest called the doctor and like, listen, this lady needs to get to the emergency room like now.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know. They're like, how is she walking around?
Wow. That's serious right there.
So yeah. So I think I got 2 units of blood. No, four. I think probably 4 units of blood and two of iron because my iron was not
Low.
even on the chart.
Hmm.
And also the vitamin D and all those other things. So yeah, when I went to the doctor, he was like, those people at the UB can't help you, right? I'm like, we'll see about that because they don't like naturopathic,
Hmm.
doctors.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I got that, and I had to seriously eliminate a lot of things: sugar, salt, and dairy.
Okay.
But I continue to eat meat.
Okay.
They said I have to eat um, red meat at least 3 times a week, and just
Not
up
to
my
eat it, not to eat it, or only limited to 3 times a week.
three
Which one?
times a week. Three
Three
times a
times a
week.
week.
Oh,
Okay.
not to eat it. They want me to eat the meat. So, but just not any meat. It's grass fed meat and free range chicken, no antibiotics and all that stuff in it, because there's a difference. Not all meats are equal.
Right.
So and liver. I don't know if you're
Oh,
Jamaican.
yes. Now
I
that's
yeah
something that we haven't had in a while. Liver.
yeah. I also eat the grass fed liver. I get it at Whole Foods.
Hmm.
So that's what I eat now, and greens and legumes and fruits. And it's hard, people. It's hard because I want tres leches cake and I want cupcake.
Hey, we're talking
Don't
about
bother with that. Remember the time we sat down and ate cake?
be quiet now. Be quiet. The audience don't need to know everything now. We can be truthful. So you know what? Yes, there's shame memories. Yes, there were times. Take a trip to the supermarket, not to get necessarily groceries,
Yeah.
but we would certainly indulge, and we will sit there in their little area, and the kids would be like, "Where are you two?" We were having cake by ourselves.
Not just any cake.
I
Yeah.
don't know what their cake tastes like now because I don't really go for it that much anymore. But
Mhm.
back then, those
Uh,
cakes were like on the point. So
yeah.
yeah, we used to do that for a bit. I don't know what were we thinking, really?
We're not thinking. That's what it
We
is.
weren't really thinking about our health either, not at all. We
No,
just
because
it
your
was,
body breaks down. It doesn't break down immediately. It slowly breaks down. So you're like, okay, I'm fine. I'm gonna eat
yeah,
what I want and whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
So
it
after
needs.
your experience in the emergency and you started to become now more aware and conscious of now you have a to-do list and a don't list, right? So
Yeah,
avoid this, go more towards this. And you're transparent as to say it's not easy
no,
because it requires discipline, it requires a lot, and you were already familiar with certain taste, right? And so
yeah,
now you're practicing this new lifestyle, but your fibroid didn't go away right away. It's still,
no.
that was just an experience through the emergency aspect,
Yeah,
but you still had to deal with the fibroid even
mm-hmm.
after. So what was it
Yeah,
like then?
for another 9 months, I think. Was it?
Okay.
I think, yeah.
And
Oh, it
did the
was
process,
horrible.
did it get
Huh?
easier? Did the process get easier?
No, because I went back to the doctor because I was so desperate. And they're like, oh, why don't you try birth control? Because at first they were like, just do the surgery. And I was like, I don't want to do surgery. And birth control, they want me to be on the pill. I'm like, I don't want to do the pill. So they finally gave me another option. I tried that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
Mm-hmm.
work.
Didn't work
Didn't
either?
work. Because I was bleeding so heavy and the clots were big.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so and then what happened was I was having cramps. In addition to the pain that I normally have, I was having cramps. It was weird. So I'm thinking I have gas or something, but it wasn't gas.
Mhm.
I found out later. So I went to the
I hope you
gynecologist.
didn't drink any tea, right? Because you know how us
Of
island
course, of course, we drink tea.
no, island folks like it's gas, you need tea. My
Yeah,
stomach hurts, you need tea.
yeah. So I went because in between those what the all the heavy bleeding, I was eating properly. I was eating whatever, no sugar or whatever, just slow. So when I went to inquire about the cramps, he was like, because the fibroid, if it's depends on where it is, they
Right.
would have to do invasive surgery. But
Uh-huh.
where it was, they would have to, cut me and go get it because it was in the muscles of the uterus. But this pain that I was feeling is that the fibroid moved from the muscle into the vagina.
Okay. Wow.
So they just, go up the vagina and take it out
Mm.
instead of after the cut. So it was like
Okay.
delivering a baby. So that's how that happened. And I remember he told me, and I was like,
So
I was
you gave
laughing.
birth,
I felt
you
so
gave
good.
birth, you gave birth
Yes,
to a fibroid.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that was like, wow, this eating right thing worked.
Yeah.
Because it brings your body back into balance. And once you bring your body back into balance, any kind of disease it won't stay in your body after that. So yeah, I was
What an
like, wow,
experience. So
yeah,
you tell someone that you gave birth to a fibroid, you actually technically
yeah.
gave birth to a fibroid because it went through that process, that journey, the canal, the
Hmm.
everything. Okay. Wow.
Then yeah, my cycle went back to normal. 3 4 days, no pain. I was like, okay, I can get used to this. And the funny thing is, because I had such a bad experience with the bleeding,
Mhm.
I think I had PTSD.
Really?
Like I
Wow.
feel the blood coming down, and I'm like, I was still wearing the big heavy pads for a couple months.
After after that wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because
Wow.
I'm like, oh my god, the blood's coming down, and I'm thinking, it's gonna. Yeah, it was. But now
Yes.
I'm back to my thin, really thin pads.
Yeah. Wow. And how long has this been? It was it a year? It's been a year now, right? Or a little bit over a year?
2 years.
Two
It's
years.
about,
Wow.
yeah, Kari's age. Mhm.
Yes, your grandchild.
I did.
Yes.
I had the surgery a couple of days before his baby shower. Before the baby
Yes,
shower.
I remember now. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Wow.
think I had the surgery Thursday or Wednesday, and the shower was Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's around this anniversary time, really, because
Mhm.
he just turned 2 a couple of days ago.
Exactly, exactly.
He just turned 2 a couple of days ago. So,
Yeah.
we joke about it and everything like that, but on a serious note, when we look back at it, we're like, wow, if
Yeah,
we knew then what we know now, how different it
exactly.
would be, you know,
Hmm.
and it's so important, the fact that one, you didn't have the insurance. So the fear
Yes.
of and the thought of trying to find money from here and there to go pay for a visit
Yeah.
is we'll get over that. We'll just have to live by that. But those
Hmm.
years of not going in created more problem than it ever did before, as
Exactly.
well as not knowing and going to a doctor and they just tell you one thing and you take that as Bible and not
Exactly.
doing the research is also another issue, right? So it's important that
Hmm.
we take our health into be intentional about our health. And it's
Yeah,
not just a cliche that health is wealth, but it is, because
it
if we're
is.
healthy, then we live longer. We're able to do more and
Hmm.
to invest more in our body, invest more in our lives, in our family life, and everything. So I'm
Yes.
really, really just glad that you came on to share this story with me. And like I told the people, you have a podcast and it talks about more. She kind of like just gave us a little bit. It was a lot more, but if you want to hear more, you have to tune into her podcast. And it's exactly that, small as a penny. Because if you had just looked at it, and the funny how they said that, small as a penny, it's just like ignore
They
it. It's
all
not that
say it.
important.
Yeah.
It's not that important, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're supposed to have it. That's what, you feel like when you get out of there. It's like, okay. But the funny thing is that for a lot of people, it doesn't affect them either way. But for
Right.
some, it's like it's hell.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the way they're just so casual about it, it's ridiculous.
Don't we
So
know? Don't I know? Like,
yeah. And the thing is that, as women, I don't know, like, single moms, we kind of focus on the kids like this.
yeah. Yeah.
Everything for the kids, and we just kind of like, oh, whatever, we're in the back somewhere. And we're trying to stay afloat, trying to keep the lights on, get some food, shelter going. You know what I mean? So you just
Yeah.
put everything else in, put yourself in the back seat. And
Yeah. So self-care went out the door.
yeah, like what's that? Yeah, you might dress up once in a while, but that's as far as we go.
Yeah.
No, we want to
So
bring
much for that
attention.
transparency. That is so true. That is the
Yeah,
truth, because who thought about self-care back then in terms of that aspect?
yeah.
Maybe self-care, like you said, would have been okay, put a cute dress on and go out one day. But
Hmm.
self-care is more than that.
It is.
It's our
Yeah.
health. It's taking care of our mind, taking care of every aspect of your being. And,
Hmm.
thank you for sharing that, so that somebody who's listening, who may just be experiencing some kind of menstrual cramps or heavy bleeding and maybe wondering like, what is this happening? But just take it as normal. Oh, it's supposed to happen,
Right.
or well, maybe because you started early at age 9 or so, this happened and we don't
Yeah.
know. But it's important that they go get checked out,
Yeah.
do their research, whether it's a regular doctor or a natural path that they take, but definitely to go and to be informed about what's going on with their body. And your body talks to you.
Oh, it
That's
does. You just gotta, be present and listen to it. Yeah.
yeah.
Sure does. It speaks very loudly. I know.
Well,
I used to boast about being anemic. Like that is such foolishness. If you're anemic,
yeah, yeah,
it's it's not something to say. Oh, I'm anemic. I'm just, whatever. No, you
no,
have to
not
go
at
get
all.
blood work done. Make sure your vitamin D is up to par. Your iron, everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I used to say that. Oh, I'm anemic. I've always been. It's like okay, do something about it.
Important. I'm telling you, listen, you're right. Get informed and then do something about it. So not just only know about it, but to actually put action to it. Do something about it. Make that change
Mhm.
for your life and for the lives of your family too. Because if you're not around, what's going to happen, right? So much for sharing that. Thank you so much. And before we wrap up on today, because I said it was just a quick chat today, um, Talk a little bit about this new product well, not so much new for you because you've been using these natural products as well for about 4 or 5 years. Talk a little bit about that. What's that product about? And
Mhm.
what are some of the benefits that you also have received from using these products?
It's Arbonne products, and they're pure, safe, and they're beneficial. Meaning, because our skin is one of the largest organs of our body, and
Mhm.
whatever you put on it, it goes directly into your bloodstream, which also causes a lot of imbalance in your body. So we seriously need to be careful of what we put inside of our body and also on the outside. So they make a range of products: makeup, skincare, hair, um, protein shake, and all that stuff.
So things happen in our lives that bring us to a different path. And it's like I've always joked about how youthful you look,
Mhm.
and not knowing until we started sharing our stories and realizing, oh wow, this is an issue, you had this health issue, you had this, and other things that we haven't covered on today. So it's
Yeah.
it's easy to just look on the outside and be like, and assume, but then what's going on the inside. And I'm
Mhm.
just so proud of you as to the journey you have taken
Thank
to
you.
educate yourself and to actually mirror and pattern this lifestyle. So, really excited about that. And you look good.
Thank you.
We're getting up there in that number too, aren't we?
No, we'll be next year. We'll be in another group. Group.
Oh, we sure will be.
It's like, oh my God, I was just 18. What's happening?
I reminded your daughter Kelly. I said, I was chatting with her with the baby, celebrating the baby's birthday 2 days ago. And I was like, Kelly, you realize your mom's hitting that number, right? And she's like, yeah. I was like, I am so excited. I said, I'm so excited because everyone always want to remind me of hitting that number. I was like, we're going to be in that same number together. But y'all
Yeah,
just keep always reminding me, and like, she's coming along.
we got to get our AARP cards and
Stop
whatnot.
it. We sure do. So, Sue, share with the audience today, um, before you even share, okay, share your platform as to your podcast on Instagram, as well as if they wanted to contact you with regards to the Arbonne products, as well if they wanted to be a consultant or they wanted to be a customer, how will they be able to get in contact with you?
For the Arbonne products, you can find me at suzettephinn.arbonne.com.
Okay, so that's
Suzette.
SUZETTEPHINN at arbonne.com. Okay.
Yes, suzettephinn.arbonne.com. Yeah, that's it will link you right to the page. You see my picture on there. So yeah, that's for the Arbonne products. And on Instagram, it's SAAP at SAAP,
Which means small as a penny.
small as a penny.
At the end of all my podcasts, I like to speak to my audience and give them what I call a call to action, right? Something for them to take away from the conversation, from the interview, or from my solo recording. And so I'm going to allow you that space today as a guest. What one thing would you want the audience to take away from our conversation today? What would you say to them to be a call to action based on your story, based on your experiences, based on your journey as to where you are now? Well, what is your call to action?
The first one I would say, because there's so many, is to listen to your body. Nobody knows your body like you do.
Right.
And if it's even once a year, go check, do blood work and check out your numbers. Because it's very important to keep your body in balance. Know what your vitamin D and E and A, where everything is, um, and just be open to change, and just understand that eating healthy is not expensive. Because a lot of people attach expense to eating healthy, and that is so not true. You could eat healthy, and it's affordable. It's a mindset. So those are like the three big ones that I had to really, you know, do and learn.
Really appreciate you coming on, Suzette, and sharing your story with us today. And I enjoy our candid conversation, our transparency, just, just telling our story. Because if we didn't do that back then, we wouldn't know what we know now. So, grateful for that. And again, just really happy for you on this journey that you are getting healthier and healthier.
You're
Ladies,
welcome.
we certainly appreciate you listening to Woman to Woman. We hope, and it is our hope all the time, that we will continue to bring you content that is relatable, content that you can use in your life, that you can apply in your life. And please, if this program is a blessing to you, if there's something on this program, a guest on this program that has dropped some inspiration and has made some change in your life, or you would just like to support this program, don't be afraid. Send me an email, w2wpodcastshow@gmail.com. Send me an email there, and please go over to Apple and write a review. Will you please go over to Apple and write a review? That will keep us afloat, keep the program going, bring us more guests to our individuals who have their experiences and they want to share their story and their journey. And if you would like to do that as well, please reach out to me. So again, that's w2wpodcastshow@gmail.com. Again, ladies, thank you for listening to Woman. Suzette, I love you, appreciate you. God
Love you
bless you.
too. Bye. Thanks for
Bye now.
having me.
Take
Bye.
care.